Hello, the purpose of this video is to help explain the final term paper and to provide help with the first two assignments related to the final term paper, which are a final term paper quiz and the final term paper thesis, draft 1. By watching this video, you will have no problem completing the quiz, and then we'll get into the thesis towards the end of this video. If you just skim through the video looking for answers to the quiz, you're most likely going to miss the lesson, which will affect the quality of your final term paper. Whether I'm your instructor or not, your instructor will be grading your final term paper based on much of the criteria I am about to discuss. So please listen up, write a good quality and logically structured term paper. The term paper is only 2 to 3 pages long, now not including images, cover page, or works cited page, but being 2 to 3 pages long, it's just going to have one single introduction paragraph containing a one-sentence thesis statement. For the purpose of this paper, you can assume the reader to be a college-educated person who knows what graphic design is, so you don't have to explain the origins of graphic design. That's kind of what the textbook is for in the class. You're just writing a 2 to 3 page term paper on a very specific topic. The main purpose of your term paper is to explain what two designers from two different design movements have in common in the formal aspects of their work. Now, I'll get into more a little bit later on about what we mean when we say formal aspects of their work. But just in short now, know that we're talking about, things such as their use of color, line, shape, and so on. Okay, so here is a question on the quiz. Target audience. I should assume that the reader of my paper knows what graphic design is. I should briefly explain who each designer is, specifically what they are known for and what design movements they are associated with. I should blank explain what the two designers have in common. Is that I should thoroughly explain what the two designers have in common. Your reader should know what the rest of your paper is going to be about after reading your introduction. This is as much about courtesy as it is about simple logic. The first paragraph will contain a thesis statement that sums up what you will be telling the reader. One sentence for a paper of this size. Write a sentence that intelligently sums up the following. The two designers, so for example, say Jane Doe, Willie Jackson. Differences. Jane Doe is associated with some design movement. Willie Jackson is associated with some other design movement. What does their work have in common? This is the meat and potatoes of your paper. This is what it's all about. We are studying the history of graphic design. We have learned a great deal about graphic design. Thus, what your designers have in common cannot be as simple as they were both graphic designers or they both made a lasting impact on graphic design. You need to analyze the visual forms of the designer's work. A great way to do this is you find 2 images of design from each designer that help prove your thesis. Show and explain these works in your paper. Then do the same thing again. So you've already shown a pair of the designer's work, say Jane's work on the left, Willie's work on the right, and you're basically saying, look at the commonalities in this work. Even though they're from 2 different design movements, the design movements have totally different philosophies, yet if you look really close, you can see that these 2 designers share something that you would not expect. Then do it again so that it's not just a one-off, a fluke. Show us again that these designers down at their heart, even though being from 2 different eras, if you will, still have some similarities in their work, and then you've really proved your thesis. So the reader should have a clear idea what my term paper will be about after reading the blank paragraph. And then next question, my first paragraph should have a blank statement, which will be a sentence that declares what I'm about to tell the reader. All right, so your reader will know what they are going to be reading about after reading the introduction paragraph of your paper. The introduction paragraph will have a thesis statement that declares in one sentence what you're about to tell the reader. Here are some research clues. Some designers belong to more than one movement, so you have to be careful here. Someone who lived a very long life and had a great graphic design career may have belonged to a movement early on in their career and then was associated with another movement later on. So you really want to follow the timeline and do your research and make sure that the work you're showing to make your point is from the proper design movement. Every chapter in the book is not the name of an art or a design movement, although some are. To help you understand and intelligently write about graphic design elements, you may want to watch this video, and I'll also have the link for this video inside of the instructions for the term paper in Canvas. Write a term paper that makes me sound like I am knowledgeable on the subject. I will need to do a great deal of, and the answer is research. Now, here's some tips on writing the paper to make it sound like a strong college paper. Please don't tell us we're reading a term paper. Don't say sentences like, "For my term paper, I chose." You would not read a statement like this in a scholarly journal, probably not even in your favorite magazine. The idea is that you're a college-level student who has done the research and has become a near expert on this particular topic. So you're just going to tell us the facts in a professional way. Another quiz question mentioning that the term paper is for a class or that it is even a term paper is unnecessary. I should instead just write the paper like I am becoming the expert on the subject. You want to limit the amount of biographical information you give us on each designer. A little bit of background information is often a good lead-in, but for this paper, your readers only really care about what design movements the designers are from. Again, we're talking only 2 to 3 pages. If you were writing 50 pages, then sure, maybe we would want to know about other things, but we don't, for a paper this size, want to know about their childhood, who their parents were, what kind of pets they had, any other information like this, unless it's relevant to your thesis statement. So if you're trying to make a point as to why these two designers had a commonality and it is hidden in one of these, then sure, mention that. So your term paper, and this is another quiz question, is 3 pages long. Nearly 2 pages should be analyzing what the two designers have in common. This leaves very little space for biographical information about the two designers. As you're writing this paper, the class is coming to an end, so it's now time to show your instructor and your fellow classmates what you know. Well, you may not yet be the expert, you are now thoroughly educated on the subject, and that is how your term paper should read. A thesis that argues that the commonality of the two designers is that they are both graphic designers or that they both made a lasting impression on the history of graphic design is completely blank at this point in your education. The answer to that quiz question is unacceptable. This is not a biographical term paper, so I should be choosy about what I tell the reader about the blank of my designers. The answer is background. So be brief on the stuff that is not what you are trying to prove in the paper. Okay, so where to find the term paper specifics? As the main focus of this class for navigation is the modules, that's exactly where you will find it. As soon as the term paper is assigned, you will have the module that indicates final term paper assignment. Now, for you, it may not be in week number 5. It shows up in week number 5 typically for the accelerated class, but I'm just kind of showing you quickly what to expect. But do this in your Canvas so that you see exactly what's here. Another reason is when you go in here, this detail may change semester to semester. So for example, when you click on this little link here for final term paper, which you will see this link in every assignment for the term paper, so that everything is just in one place right here. It'll look something like this, but obviously the dates will change for your class, and like I said, the weeks will change depending on how long your class is. The points may change from semester to semester. This is a good example right here. As you can see, I have some of the points X'd out because I am currently working on a redraft of the class and the point system right now. But when you click that link, you go in there, in your class, you will see the amount of points here. So this is the full details in writing for the term paper. Now, we haven't got into some of the specifics yet. This stuff we have right here. The dates as to when things are due will be here. There should be a total of about 5 different assignments for this paper, including the paper. Okay, so let's just reiterate on the 2 to 3 pages of content, a cover page, a works cited page, and then images do not count towards the 2 to 3 pages. The format is Times New Roman or Times at 12 points, double spaced. You need to show at a minimum 2 images by each designer, typically designer A and designer B paired up, and then designer A and designer B paired up again with another image. The citing format is MLA. You do have to come up with a total of 3 sources for your paper, with at least 1 being a journal article. Depending on the designer you choose, there may not be a journal article specifically about them. In that case, you'll need to locate a journal article that addresses the issues related to your designers. Maybe the movement, something like that. The rubric will be located at the bottom of this page. In this page, you will see the list of graphic designers that you have to choose from. Could be edited slightly from here. Finding visual similarities for the pairs of designers listed above will not be easy or readily evident because they're from different design movements. Design movements are defined by different ideas, different aesthetics, but it's a research paper, so as you research, you will start to uncover the similarities that you need to write a good paper. Here are some useful links to help you out with the paper, including things on getting the sources that you need. And then here is the video that I mentioned earlier on that deals with graphic design fundamentals in a very nice, easy way. The final term paper rubric will be located here. Be sure and perform these assignments in order. Don't try to write your thesis without watching this video and taking the quiz and making sure that you thoroughly understood everything. Once you do your thesis, look for feedback from your instructor, whether it is typed feedback where you turn it in, could be video or audio feedback depending on your instructor's style. But listen to that, take that feedback into account before you move on and do the outline, for example. Now, if you get maximum credit on any one part of it, then you may not get feedback because the grade was the feedback. Perfect grade means you nailed it. One more short video will allow me to address the second assignment for the term paper and give you the remaining question or questions for the quiz.